Hey, what's up guys, Adam here, and this video is going to be the current state of 4K. So back in January 2014 at CES, we had a massive influx of different and multiple 4K devices coming out on the market. So we had 4K TVs, we had 4K cameras, 4K monitors, and the same thing happened in 2015. We had even a wider range of 4K devices at a much cheaper price. So that has shown that the 4K market has definitely come down in price. And should that incline a consumer to go ahead and purchase a 4K device as of right now? Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the options that the consumer has at this current stage. So the first option is just if the consumer wants to just go ahead and view 4K content. They're not concerned about any 4K desktop or any 4K computer. They just want to see 4K content. That can be achieved by just buying a 4K smart TV. Now bear in mind there isn't much 4K content out there at the market. There's three main sources of 4K that can be actually found on a smart TV at 4K, and that is going to be Netflix. It's going to be recently as well, it's going to be Amazon Video, and the final one is of course going to be good old famous YouTube. So there's only going to be three main outlets on a smart TV where you can go ahead and access 4K content. So as I mentioned before multiple times, that mainstream TV is not going to be broadcasting in 4K anytime soon. Another media keeps saying, oh, everyone's going to have a 4K TV in their house in the next 2 to 3 years. That's not going to happen because they're only just currently now broadcasting out in 720p and 1080p, and we've been using 720p now for the past 14 years on the older versions of the plasma TVs that were HD ready. So I don't see that happening anytime soon. So just bear in mind that if you're going to be buying a 4K TV, there isn't a whole lot of 4K content out there currently. So the next option is for people who just want to have the experience of 4K on a desktop without having to go ahead and assemble anything. They just pretty much want to have 4K on the plate and right out the box. And I would definitely recommend to go ahead and suggest the 5K iMac. And I know I said the word 5K, but that's because there's no 4K computer all-in-one out there at the moment. Currently, if you just want to get the most easiest possible way to get high resolution 4K content, I would definitely recommend the 5K iMac because that is going to be super high resolution. You don't have to go ahead and worry about any external monitors, any graphics cards, any RAM or any processors. Everything's just going to be all out of the box straight there. So you're just going to be able to go ahead and see and stream 5K content, whether it be by Netflix or by YouTube or by even Vimeo this time, as well as of course Amazon Video at Ultra HD. So the next 4K option is going to be for those heavy gamers who really want to experience 4K gaming. And this is where the price can start to go up quite steeply because 4K gaming is pretty expensive. Now this is where you need to start to consider your performance parts when building a custom PC, for example. So you really need to go ahead and consider your processor, your RAM, and definitely your graphics card, because it's going to be really GPU intensive 4K gaming, and you want to try and make sure you're going to be gaming at 60 Hz. You don't want to be gaming at anything less than that. So 60 Hz, and to achieve that you really want to go ahead and make sure you're going to have something like an SLI graphics card like the GTX 980. You want to have that in SLI mode, or you want to go ahead and try and get your hands on the GTX 980 Titan graphics card, which is a very powerful graphics card and will definitely be able to handle 4K gaming. Then you want to go ahead and consider the monitors that you're going to be using. Now you really want to go ahead and find a monitor that is 60 Hz. You don't want to have anything at 30 Hz. I know there's going to be some tempting 4K panels out there that are 30 Hz. You want to try and avoid those if you're going to be doing any gaming. You really need to have a panel that's 60 Hz or above to try and get that best 4K gaming experience. You don't want to have anything less than 60 Hz. So with all that in mind, budgeting around there, you're going to be talking somewhere around in the region of around about just over £2,000, or maybe just under £2,000 if you're able to find any bargains. But the average price for the 4K gaming experience is going to be roughly over that £2,000 mark because of just how GPU heavy this setup's going to be. The final option we're going to have is going to be for those 4K content creators. So those are people who want to go ahead and shoot in 4K and also render and edit in 4K. Now a 4K camera set at this very moment in time still stands, for example, the Panasonic G4 still stands around about £1,500 for the body only. Then of course you need to go ahead and consider the PC that you're going to be using. You might be able to get away with using the iMac, the 5K iMac, but it's going to be a bit tedious when it comes to rendering heavy 4K content because of that weaker i5 processor. So really the best scenario case, you want to go ahead and make sure you have a custom built PC, for example, and you really want to try and make sure you're going to have plenty of cores and plenty of RAM, because rendering is very core and RAM heavy. And then when it comes to actually watching the 4K content back, or even even previewing the 4K content, you want to make sure you got a very strong GPU as well. You don't want to be using anything less than, I'd say, probably a GTX 970 when it comes to playing back 4K content smoothly. So I guess the answer is not as clear cut as by saying is 4K worth it, because there's so many different options for 4K at the moment. Now it's not really easy to say, well, it's worth it or it's not worth it, because there's so many different versions you can go for. For someone who's just watching 4K content, they just want to see 4K content, they can definitely go ahead and buy a 4K smart TV. Whereas someone who's going to be wanting to create video work at 4K, it's going to be much more of a higher investment. So guys, that's pretty much my video on the state of 4K. Thank you for watching, take care, and of course I'll see you guys in the next tech video. Bye for now.